Hello, everyone. Welcome to our podcast, Virtuous Purposeful Women. Today, we're going to talk about building confidence in children. And I've got Caroline Jackson here with me. Caroline, will you please introduce yourself to everybody?
Awesome. So yes, as Benet said, I'm Caroline Jackson. I'm an occupational therapist with a special interest in sensory integration. I work at a practice in Erasmus Rand called Sensibility Studios, and we see a variety of kids here with various difficulties. Some of them are neurodivergent, some of them have learning difficulties, some of them have social skill difficulties, and we focus on kids from the ages 0 to about 6 years, grade 1. My main focus is on toddlers at the moment.
Great, thank you. Can you please explain to us a bit more about what is occupational therapy and integration sensory, please?
Yes. So occupational therapy focuses on occupations of daily living. So what this entails, it's not just your job, it entails every aspect of your day. So any task that brings meaning and purpose to your life is included in an occupation. So for adults, it would be working, exercising, making food. For children, it would be going to school, playing with friends. All of these things are included in occupations. So sensory integration is the framework in which we practice at our practice. And sensory integration looks at how you integrate your senses, so how you react to sensory input, so your sensitivity to it, and then also making sense of sensory information. So being able to use the input from your environment to participate in daily activities.
Sure, it's interesting. I'm excited for this one, very. I can't wait to hear everything. I just want to, you told me something about normal development. So will you please explain to us just what is normal development so we can understand everything before we go into all the technical things about how to build confidence?
Yes. So normal development refers to the norm at which development should happen. So they took a bunch of kids, they tested them at certain ages and saw that they had to achieve certain things at certain ages. So normal development is a guideline for us to understand where our children should be at a certain age. This doesn't mean they have to be at that age, otherwise there's something wrong. There's a bit of leeway, can I say, for children to achieve certain skills. For example, walking, they have from 12 months to 15 months to walk. So a lot of parents are like, my kid's 1, they're not walking yet. And it doesn't have to happen exactly at that time yet. They have that time to learn that skill. So a lot of times what happens is they focus on one type of skill and then they, I almost want to say, they neglect the other skills. You were telling me about your kids and their differences.
Yes.
And kids aren't the same. Each one is unique. Each one of them develop at their own pace. So even though normal development is there for us to use as a guideline, we shouldn't be too focused on they have to achieve this at this age. Within that band that they have to achieve that, we want them to achieve that in that time.
It's very interesting for me because I've seen a lot of mothers that put their children in that bracket. They need to, like you say, walk at 1 year, and if they don't walk at 12 months, then there's something big wrong with their child, and then they think my child's behind. And it's actually so amazing because I've seen so many children that walk only after like a year, and they are normal. There's nothing wrong with them. They are very strong kids, and it's not like they are behind or anything. So I think it's important for moms to remember that because they also put a lot of pressure on themselves.
Yes, definitely.
With that developmental stages, like they need to sit at 6 months. They need to. So, and it's something that I also had to learn with my first child.
Yes.
And with the second one's a lot better because I know everything is going to happen naturally. So I'm just letting my second one be. But the first one, I was like you need to crawl now.
Yes.
So yes, and thank you for telling us all of stuff. And I want to go into the importance of confidence, how to build that confidence in children, and how important it is for us to build that confidence, and what effect it has on their development.
Yes. So children need that confidence in their own bodies, in their abilities to be able to participate in these tasks. And we sometimes don't give the kids enough credit for what they understand, what they know, what they are able to process. And looking now more into the toddler stages, when the kids see other kids doing things and they realize they're not doing it at the same pace or they're not doing it the same, they can get a knock to their confidence. So kids need that confidence in themselves, in their own bodies, to be able to participate in these tasks. And when they have a lack of confidence, they tend to not participate in tasks as they should. So, for instance, if let's say toddlers, they see a friend is climbing up a tree and they can't do that yet, they won't participate in that task because they realize their body doesn't have that ability to do that, and then they step back and they don't participate. And the less they participate, the more they don't develop that skill, and then they struggle to participate in these things. So their confidence is built by them taking part, doing what other kids do.
But as from a mother's side, if your child doesn't want to take part in something,
yes,
how do you motivate them to take part? Because if you're going to force them, it's also not going to be fun, because they're not going to take it also very well. It's going to be like tantrums or crying. So how do you guys like tell them, listen, let's take part in a good way, and motivate them to do it?
So I think from our side, there's various reasons why they don't participate. So we need to figure out what is the root cause of them not participating. So we do evaluations to see, is it, as I mentioned previously, is it a sensitivity thing that they don't like types of movements, or they don't like certain textures or something like that, or is it that they lack the skill to participate? And from there, once we have that basis, we can then help them to participate more effectively in those tasks. So we would then encourage them by telling them it's okay. I think a lot of times we see these perfect kids on Instagram and these book babies, and it's not reality. Everyone struggles, and I think we all know a lot of people's best is on social media, and they don't show the struggles. They don't show what, there's this perfect picture of them eating pasta, but they don't show the pasta lying everywhere afterwards because the kids don't want to touch it. So I think it's acknowledging, once again, like we said, your child doesn't have to be perfect. They don't have to fit in this box, and then allowing them, they have to struggle. I think a lot of times, I know when I started in my journey as occupational therapist with kids, I wanted to jump in and save them the whole time, and that's not good for them. If we jump in and save them, they don't have the opportunity to learn that skill themselves. They don't have that opportunity to problem solve effectively.
And also have that independence of knowing I can do this on my own.
Yes.
Okay. So I want to know confidence, how it relates to their developmental milestone. So what effect does every developmental milestone have on a child's confidence?
Yes. So I think, as I mentioned previously, when the kids have a lack of confidence in a certain skill, they don't really participate in that skill. So if you take walking, for instance, if they don't have confidence in their body to maintain an upright posture or to be able to have balance for that walking, they're not going to do that as fast as other kids might. So as I mentioned, it goes back to the root problem of why don't they do that. So for instance, the skill of walking, you need feedback from your muscles and your joints. You need effective processing of the movement. You need confidence in your body to maintain that upright posture. And if you don't have that, you're not going to develop that as fast. So they might. We have some of our kids at work that you can see they can actually walk, but they don't have that confidence to let go yet. So they don't want to fail. Once again, as I said, we give our kids too little credit for what they understand and what they can do. So they know, I'm not 100% with this yet, so I'm not going to do it yet. And then they don't, as I said, they don't develop that skill effectively because they don't participate in that skill.
Well, I see it with my own son. He's at that stage where he wants to start walking, but I can see he's still a little bit. There's it's a fear inside of him that he's not scared of his body. His body can do it because he stands up and everything. But the moment he has to start walking, it's like he has that fear of falling down. I can see it. Like he's so afraid. And the moment you let go of one hand, he starts crying because he's afraid that he's going to fall down. So I can see he's now at that stage. But they all go through that, and I know I
Yes.
just need to. It's not like there's something wrong. I just need to
Give him time.
give him time to get over that and realize, okay,
Yes.
I can actually do this.
Yes. And we support them through that. With your little boy now, you'll help him to walk. You'll give him those aids, because none of us learned something without support of other people.
No.
Like any skill that we've ever attempted, we first had to practice. We first had to go through it. And I think the one thing I see a lot at work is we don't give children the same courtesy we give adults.
That's true.
We expect them. We expect them to have emotions like we do, but and process those emotions like we do, or do physical things like we do, but we don't even do all of those things perfectly the first time.
That's so true.
So just giving kids a little bit grace and giving them that room to actually work on these things. Because if we want to jump in and be like, oh, he's not walking yet, and he's 1 year old and all of this, it's not fair. He still he needs that time to learn that skill, because he's maybe working on talking now, or he's maybe working on social skills. Walking is not important to him right now. Every skill that they have to develop, it's a lot of processing in their brain. It's a lot of processing for the body. So they can almost only do one at a stage.
Well, it's true what you say, because I told you also earlier, I can see that my two children, my daughter Yelisa, she's very how can I say, good with her movements. So her body can do a lot, but vocally she wasn't so good at a young age. Where Andrew is more with his mouth. So he already say words like tata, and he waves with his hands, and he makes a lot of sounds, but his movement came a little bit slower than hers. Like the crawling, and I can see now with the walking as well. He's a little bit more careful with those, where she was the other way around. She did the crawling and the walking first, and the talking only
later.
Came after like a year.
She
started saying her first words only after a year, where he already says words. So it's so interesting with seeing these differences in my two children and how you just have to let your children be. I've realized, because with your first one you want to be like but now the second one I see, just let them be. Just let them go and let them do their thing. So it's so
and I think that
interesting.
goes back to the comparisons that you guys spoke about in the previous podcast. And it's very quick for us to compare, okay, but Yelisa was doing this at this age, why is he not doing this? And it's once again like giving them that grace and being like, they are different, they are unique, they all develop at different paces, different things are important to them at different times. Once again, those milestones are there for us as a guideline. If your child is, for instance, not walking at 2, then that's an issue. We want to work on that there, because then there is a root problem that needs to be sorted out. But they are going to develop, they are going to get those skills in place. We just need to give them that time and that grace.
Sure, I never thought when I started to become a mother that there's going to be so many things that you have to think about when your children have to do all of those things. But it's so interesting to know the stuff and learn the stuff. So I want to, you said in the beginning you only work with a range from your toddlers, 0 to 6 years, but 1 to 6 years?
Yeah.
I know 0.
No, we work from young.
Okay, great. So I want to know what impact, what signs as you as an occupational therapist in your line of work do you look at to see when a child don't have a lot of confidence, when they lack?
Yeah. So a lot of times these kids that we see present as these very strong-willed little kids. So they only want to participate in a certain activity because they don't want to fail.
That's so true. That's true.
As much as we have fear of failure in things that we do, they also have that, and they don't want to participate in tasks because I don't want to get this wrong. I don't want to fail in doing this task. So they are very strong-willed because they know what works for them. They know that crawling, they're good at crawling. They know that talking is a strong point, so they're going to maybe talk more. So they have a very strong preference for certain tasks or activities, or they might get super emotional when you ask them to participate in another task. I have a little boy at work who it's really important for his mom that he has a good pencil grasp and writing, but he's not in big school yet. He's still in preschool, and for him, every time we bring it into the activities, he gets super emotional. So our therapy is very child-led. So they choose what they do and how they want to do it, and we bring our goals into that. So when we force almost engagement with tools and those things that he's not ready for yet, he gets very emotional and he gets almost angry. And that shows us there's not confidence in that skill yet.
It's actually interesting for me that at such a young age you can already feel that pressure so much, and it affects like a lot of emotions in him and a lot of things in him. And sure, it's actually amazing to think that we as moms, we don't even notice that we're putting that pressure on our children.
But it's again that those expectations of my child should be doing this at this age. And it's sometimes we have unrealistic expectations for our children. For example, if you expect your 1-year-old to regulate their emotions, stay in their room by themselves, not come out when they need you, that's not realistic. You need your parents up until about 5 years old to regulate you, to help you regulate, to help you feel okay within your environment. So it comes back to those unrealistic expectations of, we can't expect of a 3-year-old to have a perfect grasp on the pencil like we do. It's not age appropriate. So just taking off that pressure from yourself, from the child, it's going to make engagement in activities so much easier. Yes.
Okay, thank you. It's going to help me as well. What do we as parents, caregivers, and even teachers, what role do we play in our children's, like building their confidence, and how can we help to build our children's confidence? Because I think that's what a lot of us as moms wants to know. We want to know how we can help our children to be more confident in the things that they need to be.
So as I mentioned earlier, a lot of times us as adults want to jump in and we want to save kids because we don't want them to get hurt. We don't want them to not get that right. We don't want them to struggle in the activity. And that's, I almost want to say, the furthest thing from good for them. Children, especially toddlers, they want to be independent. They want to do things by themselves. And the best thing you can do for them is allow that. Give them that independence. Give them that chance to work through things. Because if your little one wants to climb up a couch and you there helping them along the way, next time you're not there, they can't do it because they haven't learned that skill. So standing back, allowing them to fail. I think we don't
allow them to fail. That's why we can't handle failure.
And we don't like seeing them fail. We don't like seeing them not get something right. And that is exactly what they need to problem solve, to learn those skills. So if your baby or child doesn't do the skill themselves, they don't learn that skill. So it's like you that loves running. If your mother was there carrying you the whole time running, you would have never been able to do that. So the same with our little ones is we need to stand back and give them that space to do that skill. Because as they're doing it, they're problem solving and they're like, okay, but if I have to climb up the couch, I need to lift this leg like this. Where if mom just puts me on the couch,
you never learn how to climb.
You never learn. And then that translates over to being able to climb on a jungle gym, being able to climb on a bicycle. All of those things build up.
While you talk, I have so many things going on my head because I'm also working with children with the learn to swim and teaching children to swim. And I can really see with this, the primary schoolers, that generation, I can really see how they can't do things for their own. It's like everybody's doing everything for them. So now suddenly they are at school and nobody's there anymore to help them. And now the teachers need to help them the whole time, or somebody needs to help them the whole time. And it's actually so, while you're talking, I'm thinking about all of the stuff like, I don't want my children to come to be at school or in a situation where I'm not there and they are not able to stand on their own or be independent or lack that confidence of doing something. I think you're really doing what is the word for your child? You're not doing it right for your child. Injustice for your children. So I think to really try to push yourself to stay a little bit out. I know patience is not always there. Sometimes you don't have the time. You're like, just come, let me help you, let's go. But I think we as moms need to let our children be and let them do the things on their own, even though it takes time. Just to give them that space to say, listen, you are independent, let's go. You're big enough, let's do this.
And I think you mentioned a nice point there of sometimes there's not that time for that. And I think giving yourself grace as a parent and being like, okay, 70% of the time my child is going to do their own thing, they're going to be there. But when I'm in a hurry, when I need to do stuff, take them, move them, do what you have to.
Otherwise, it's going to be more frustration.
Yes. So I think we have these high expectations of our kids, but we also have these high expectations on ourselves.
Yes, that's
and being perfect in front of your child 24/7 is not healthy for you or for them.
No.
They're not learning that sometimes it's okay to fail, and they don't get modeled how to deal with that failure. And I'm going to touch a little bit about that later, but it's another way to help our kids build their confidence is also the words we use. So I know that everyone's children they're amazing, they're the best, but we need to praise them within activities that they are doing. So give them that praise within, oh, you really tried your best to climb up that couch, you gave it all, you lifted your leg, let's try again, let's do it again. So using the right words and empowering them with your words to learn those new skills, and speaking life over them, bringing the word into it and giving them that confidence to be like
praise and be like, well done.
You are doing great, you are trying your best, your body is learning, you're getting stronger, you're getting smarter. So bringing those words in to help them build their confidence, because I know there was some teachers in my life that they really broke my confidence because of their words they used. And it's we're all learning. We're all learning and growing.
I feel teachers have a really big role in children's lives, because when you go to school, you spend the most of your day with that teacher. So they have the most impact into your life. So I think it's so important for a teacher to, well, I know it's not easy to work with children. I know. But
especially 30 at a time.
Yes. But I think just to be alert all the time of how you speak to the children and what you say to them, because just words can have such a big...
make or break.
Definitely, and have a big influence.
No, for sure.
You talk about, obviously, you work with children, and how do we build that confidence in their children?
Yes.
So you spoke a lot about this now, and that we need to give them praise and we need to lift them up and all of those things. Is there anything else that we can do to build that confidence?
Yeah, so I think the main points would be, so allow them to struggle, as I mentioned, let them fail. And when they really give their best, praise any effort they give.
Okay.
When you can see they're really working hard to try and get this right, we're going to encourage them, and we're gonna be like, oh, that was great, you did your best, let's try again, and show them your struggles as well. It's when you are having a bad day or when you're struggling to do something, demonstrate that to them. Show them, I struggle to do this, and then you model how to deal with that.
Okay.
Because it's we can't be teaching them these things, but we're not showing it. Actions speak louder than words. We know that saying, and that's such a true saying. So a lot of times people are like, they don't understand why their child gets mad when they do something or they're not getting something right. And we're like, okay, quickly backtrack. How do you deal with difficulties? How do you deal with failure?
It's actually so amazing, because I've took my first child to Caroline, and when she did the evaluation, I learned so much about myself, because while we talk about Yalisa's things and she struggled with, I realized that I'm also struggling with the same things. And it was so amazing to learn so much about myself and how I must deal with certain things. So I feel like it was therapy for me as well. So it's so interesting, actually. I want to know about, our children handle so many challenges and setbacks in life, and how can we help them to have a bit more resilience and to handle those challenges? And that, because life is life, there will always be challenges. So how can we learn them to handle those better?
So I think it's important to remember that we're all going to face those setbacks, we're all going to face those challenges, and as I mentioned now, the way you deal with it and the way you process through that is a lot of how they are going to do it.
Definitely.
So if we have more resilience, if we have more patience with ourselves, more grace with ourselves, we are then able to participate in more challenging tasks as well.
That's true.
And it is a mindset thing. I'm not putting it all on the parent, but it is all on the parent.
No.
It's very important that your child has a demonstration of what to do. There's a lot of things that happens automatically. There's a lot of things that develop automatically, but certain things are learned. Your environment shapes you. Benay and I had a conversation about this, and our upbringings were very different in regards to sport and things like that. And that shapes your habits, and it shapes your mindsets, and it shapes who you are in the end. So what you are demonstrating to your child and what you are teaching them and guiding them to do is going to help them with those setbacks. But as I mentioned, praising them through that. So you did your best at throwing that ball, you did your best at hitting that ball. Then you demonstrate maybe how to do it better or how to do it effectively, and then let's try again, let's do it again. And then sometimes we pretend to fail in front of them. So we'll also be like, oh, I can't hit that ball. Like, oh, that was difficult. Just so that they can see my mom's not perfect. Because we are able to kick a ball and throw a ball better than what they can. But demonstrating to them, oh, that was difficult, let me try again. And then use your words as a way of demonstration. So you'll be like, I'm going to throw this ball a little bit harder, so that they then...
Yes. That's I'm going to use this in my swimming as well, because I also have a boy. Every time I correct him when he does something wrong, he gets frustrated because he doesn't want to hear he keeps doing stuff wrong. So now even though he's doing the skill wrong, I praise him and say, well done. And then I don't know how to correct him after it, because I know he doesn't like it.
Yes.
But I'm definitely going to use this. I'm going to show them, wow, look at how I'm doing this. I'm going to kick a bit hard. I'm definitely going to use this with him, because I didn't know how to handle that situation.
Yes. And as we mentioned just now, it's that failure, they don't like that.
Yeah.
And especially if they fail in multiple areas, they don't want to know they're failing. So that's why those strong-willed kids are some of our, most of our clients.
Let me not use the difficult word, but
they are difficult. Let's be real about it. It's difficult. We have a few parents that are like, I can't do anything outside of building blocks, because that's all they want to do, because that's their strength. So it is difficult. It is, as much as we have to have grace with ourselves as parents and caregivers and therapists and all of that, we need to realize it's not an easy situation. It's not an easy task. And almost that admittance of, yes, it is hard to do this. To be okay within that space of, this is difficult, but I'm going to do my best. So while you are helping your child, you are also helping yourself to build that resilience, to build that confidence as, I know what I'm doing. And I think a tip that I can give the moms is trust your mom guts, trust what you know, trust what your feelings are, seek advice if you're not sure, but you know what's best for your child. And do what your child needs with what you are okay with. So if you are very stressed that your child is going to climb up the couch and fall, make sure there's cushions around them, but allow them to do that. Stand close by. If they're going to fall, catch them and move them through that falling motion, but you have to allow them to do those things within what you're okay with. Because if you make yourself more stressed, you make your child more stressed, and then it's just
that's good.
A stressful situation.
That's good. Thank you. I think this is going to help a lot of moms. Yes. Any strategies for us as moms to help our children overcome those challenges and setbacks, and so it doesn't impact their confidence?
Yes.
Do you have any strategies for us?
I think we've touched on basically all of them so far. It's being there with them through those challenges and meeting those emotions. I think a lot of times we want to just be like, it's okay, you're fine. But we need to meet that. I see you. Get over it, you're fine.
It's really, get over it, stand up, let's go.
Get up. But meeting that emotion. So being present in the moment that you are with your child. I read an amazing post yesterday about whenever you're on your phone or you're busy with something else and your child speaks to you, make eye contact. Regardless of what is happening right now, if your child's speaking to you, look at them. Make eye contact, even if it's just for that moment, to tell them, I need a few more minutes before we can play. Because I was very condemned by that post, because my boss's little ones they're my world. And I'll a lot of times be on my phone, and then the little boy would speak to me and I'll just be like, yeah, okay. And it's that eye contact is so important to them. This shows them you are present in that moment. So be present in the moment with your child while they're working through these things, and then meet those emotions. So if you see they fell over, or they feel like, you can see on their faces they feel like that wasn't good enough, meet them there. Be like, I see you are sad that you did not get that right to kick the ball. I see you are mad because you weren't able to climb over this wall, or the the thing, or you weren't able to build those blocks like you wanted to. Meet those emotions first, and then we say, okay, but let's try again. So it's like when we have a bad day, or we say, oh, I'm feeling really bad about myself, and everyone's like, no man, you look fine, you're great. It's not nice. You're like, I am feeling this way, and you're just saying,
I'm not feeling fine.
And you're just being like, it's fine, get over it. It's the same with our little ones. We have to meet those emotions and be like, your emotions are valid. You are allowed to feel this way, because that's also how we help them with dealing with their emotions, working through those things. We're going to demonstrate to them. We're going to use encouraging words. We're going to uplift them, praise them for their effort, and then we're going to show them how to do it again, and we're going to encourage to do it again.
Sure. Thank you. I'm learning a lot here today. What is your role as an occupational therapist in the development of children?
Yes.
Can you please explain that a little bit more for us, and also for the moms, so that I understand a bit more how you guys can help the children if they notice that they struggle a little bit with something, or skills, anything like that?
So as I mentioned at the start, there's varying things that we focus on at the practice. So lack of confidence within our framework can stem from a variety of places. So they can either struggle with the reaction to that input. For example, they don't like what movement feels like, so they don't want to participate in climbing or swinging, which then hinders some of the development of their senses. Or they can't do the skill of climbing onto a swing, of climbing up a ladder, of using their hands to cut with the utensils, or use a pencil to write with. So we look at, why does this happen? What is the root cause of them not being able to participate in this task as they should be doing? And then from there, we will then implement our therapy to build that confidence. I remember I had a little boy who he struggled with all of his senses. He couldn't process movement effectively, couldn't process the feeling of his muscles and joints effectively. He struggled with visual tasks, and then he was sensitive to almost all his senses as well. And this little boy, when I started seeing him, he was super quiet. He sat in the corner of the class by himself, and that was when he was grade RR. So already a lot of pressure on this little body. And he didn't play at the playground, he didn't climb on anything, he was just there. And we did quite intense therapy for about 1.5 years, and his mom was like, the one day she said, no, he's having a birthday party, he's got 25 friends coming, and I was like, what? 25 friends? And she was like, he knows all of them, he plays with them, and he was doing, by the end of our therapy, he was doing backflips off of this very high tower, jumping into a ball pit, rolling around, doing these amazing things with his body. And it's because we could find what was wrong. If we had to force him within that stage to be like, you will participate, you will do this, we would have almost broken his confidence a little bit more, because he's also super smart and he knew he can't do these things. And then he was exactly that child I was explaining of, very strong-willed, didn't want to participate in certain things, got very emotional when you forced him to do stuff. And now he's thriving, he's taking part in so many things. So it's, I think there's this terrible stigma around therapy, that it's for kids with severe disabilities, and it's for kids with these very terrible learning problems. And yes, we see them, but it's also for the little one who can't play with their friend, who can't deal with mommy leaving me and changing the routine.
I brought my daughter to you because I've noticed that she is very sensitive to certain things. So she got a lot of outbursts of emotions, and I didn't know how to handle it. So I started to get frustrated, and I was just like, I'm gonna go see Caroline, and I'm gonna come to you so you can help me. Not just because I think there's really something wrong with her. I just wanted to understand her better. And that's the important thing. And I'm definitely going to bring my boy also to you, because it's just for me, I understand my child better, so I can deal with certain situations better. So I can eliminate a little bit more of those frustrations.
Yeah.
Because I'm getting frustrated because she doesn't stop moaning and crying the whole time, and it's not good for our relationship. So that was the thing for me, is how do I handle this outburst? Why does it happen? So that was something amazing for me, and I'm telling all the moms I'm meeting, like, go to occupational therapist just to learn yourself as a person, because trust me, you learn a lot about yourself. I've learned a lot about myself, even my husband, and he wasn't very interested in going the first time. But the moment he sat there and Caroline started speaking to us about the certain sensitivities in the blocks, and Danielle was like, wow, this is so amazing. And he was like, he really learned a lot even about himself. And so definitely moms, don't feel like there's something wrong with your child to take them to occupational therapists. Go, do it. It will really help you a lot. And yes, just thank you, Caroline.
Thank you.
I really appreciate your input. I've learned a lot today, and I know the moms are going to learn a lot today. Everybody that watched this is going to learn really a lot about how they can handle certain situations and how they can help their children to build more confidence. And I think we need to, in this day of time and how the world is, how it's going in this world these days, we need to build our children to be strong and to be confident in doing things and to know how to handle stuff. So thank you. I appreciate it a lot.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, people. Thank you for joining us. Bye.